Hello and welcome to the Burnley preview. Sunderland played Burnley on Monday Night Football, which is a pain,
Long way
really.
away.
8 o'clock, 8 o'clock on a Monday is annoying. But I'm joined by my good friend Taff. We are still wearing the same clothes because we're tramps. Somebody
New
did,
beer though.
yeah, new beer. That is true. Somebody did comment recently and say, "Do you ever change T-shirts?" I presume it was flippant, uh, knowing that we batch record. Because somebody else also said, "Do you ever have a day where you don't
Sleep.
record?" Was that?
Yeah. So don't you guys sleep?
Yeah, I was like, "Yep, we do. We do record late though." Um, but yeah, we're here to talk about Sunderland's game against Burnley though. And last week in our preview against West Ham, we had, I think, a lot of positivity, a lot of thought that would be a game that we'd win. We thought that Sunderland would have more than enough for West Ham, and as it transpired, we did
We
not in
support.
West Ham.
We should have known better.
Yeah, we should have. We were too positive. So I'm not going to make the same mistake this week. I'm not going to be as positive this week. But I do think that while West Ham, and we talked about this in the match review, but while West Ham were very, very good, and I will say that I thought West Ham were brilliant in this game, and I think it opens major questions at the bottom of the Premier League as to who's going to go down. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but maybe we can. But yeah, the bottom of the Premier League looks wide open right now with how well West Ham are playing, and I thought they were excellent. As much as we weren't good, I think you do have to give them a lot of credit. But in context of Sunderland and their season and us playing Burnley next, there must be lessons learnt from the manager and the coach and stuff, because I think we got it so wrong against West Ham. I would like to see it get corrected this week. Would you agree with that? And do you think there could be maybe not wholesale name changes, but wholesale system changes for this one?
I support Sunderland AFC, and I should have known better. But equally, because I support Sunderland AFC, I am just going to throw all that to the wind and continue to believe. And I'm going to double down and say we're going to beat Burnley convincingly. Because I have not learnt in the 35 years of doing this. I have not learnt. And we will win this one. I'm
Yeah.
sure. What do we do in terms of team?
Doesn't matter because we're just going to win. It's going to turn up and win.
It wouldn't surprise me if Lebris continued this farce of making up right wingers out of anybody else except the right winger. It wouldn't surprise me if they played the same team.
Let's just do the team. Right, let's just do this. So we're recording this as a disclaimer on Tuesday. So this is 6 days before kickoff. There is a lot of things can happen before now and kickoff, but let's give a rough idea of how we're going to play, because
somebody could find Abdullah Bar.
Somebody
he
could.
might.
He might be,
I don't know where he is.
Yeah, he might be playing in Dubai or something by then, though. Maybe. But yeah, Xhaka won't be playing. I think it's fair to say. I think they said it would be at least 2 weeks for him. So that will probably mean that he has been, if he got injured against Crystal Palace, by the time we play against, who's our game after Burnley? Did we play Arsenal away?
We are Arsenal away on the 7th.
Probably going to target returning for that one if you were to hazard a guess. So that would mean that he's
the winner, tear off his shirt and get a booking, and we're all going to love it.
That's 3 weeks though. He would have been out then, so 3 weeks to recover from a little ankle injury.
He's going to want to play that game, isn't
he? In terms of he will. I think he'll be back for that one. In terms of this game though, right? So I think we're all agreeing that Roofs starts in goal. Left back. Is there a question mark over Ronaldo? He had a bit of a stinker at the weekend, or is it still him in there?
I thought I was really surprised at just how easily Bowen exposed him for pace.
Yeah,
I was really surprised because I thought he'd been solid this season up until then. Now, fortunately, Anthony plays on the other wing and isn't especially fast, is he? I don't know, hard to tell.
I think Jaden Anthony is quite a quick player, but they've also got that Marcus Edwards as play. Marcus Edwards would be playing against him with Kyle Walker.
I do not rate Marcus Edwards as much as I rate Jared Bowen, and I think most people would agree with that. So
there's a Burnley fan being like, what?
Oh, surely, if there are Burnley fans watching this, he's been a bit disappointing since you signed him in the Championship. I thought he was a player that we were trying to get, and when you got him, I thought, missed out on a good one there.
To be fair, he did very well last season, and I think that from what I've seen, I mean, I do watch a few of the Burnley channels. I watch Turfcast occasionally. It's a good channel if Sunderland fans want to check it out this week before the game. And they have been pretty annoyed at how little game time he saw this season. They think he's been a very good. Like he's looked like one of their only players that maybe has Premier League quality, and Scott Parker for whatever reason hasn't been.
Well, he's an attacker, and Parker doesn't know what to do with them, so
Yeah,
he
that's
best not
true.
play him. Too exciting.
So I mean, I think Ronaldo does get the nod in here, but I also think
He's got enough credit in the bank.
Yeah, but I think Sirkin is knocking on that door. I think he's done really well whenever he's played. So if Ronaldo drops another stinky, I wouldn't be surprised to see Sirkin get some minutes in the near
I'm
future.
happy with that decision at left back, Sirkin at left
Yeah.
back, and Sirkin to step in if needs be. I'm happy with that.
Centre backs, I presume it's Alderete and Ballard with Mukiele at right back. Now, the only thing I would maybe say to this is at home, we've been all right defensively, but away from home recently, those games against Brentford and West Ham, defensively we've looked a little bit shaky. Is it possible that maybe we, for Arsenal away, potentially see a change to that defence, or do you think that's set in stone?
Well, no, I don't think we do. I mean, we don't have anybody else, do we? Apart from in terms of central defence and
You could play Nordy though, and then move Human to right back if you drop Alderete or Ballard. I mean, I don't see it happening. I'm just throwing out
no, I
questions.
don't. I don't, and you know my feeling on dropping Alderete. He's had very few stinkers. He's got great ball control. He doesn't progress the ball as much as you'd like with space, but his positioning is generally good, and defensively he's normally pretty good. But I like having a left-footed, left-sided centre half. I think it adds to the possibilities of gameplay, and I think when you don't have that, you remove that crossfield pass to our right wing. And I think every time you do something like that and play somebody out of position, I think you cut down your ways to attack and the ways that the opposition have to think about managing you. And so if you don't play him, I think it's one less way that they have to worry about. And so I'm
True,
not in favour of that. I keep him.
true. And just before we go on, No Gammons did ask us what tactical changes do you see being implemented. We also had a question from Steve who said what changes do you see for Burnley, and the main question is Getrauda a must to replace Xhaka? So if we go to our midfield, would your midfield be? No, I think this is a really, really interesting question because I don't even know what I would do. But the midfield be Siddiqui, Getrauda, I always say his name wrong, and Lefay. Is Diarra getting in there as a in the midfield three? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I tell you, I know exactly what I would do with this. So my midfield, Christ on a bike, every Sunderland fan's midfield on the planet starts with Getrauda and Siddiqui, because nothing else there is sensible. And if nothing good comes out of West Ham, it has to be that was a really weak selection in the centre of the park. Whether it was Hume trying to be a right midfielder, whether it was Lefay partnering Siddiqui in that defensive position, no good, too weak. It has to be Getrauda and Siddiqui. I see no alternative there. And I will not entertain any other discussion on that. Sorry.
So you,
Then, yeah, go on.
I was going to say, so are you playing a two in there or a three?
No, I'm playing Diarra instead of Lefay.
Oh, okay.
I am putting Lefay out, possibly on the left wing, but I'm not decided. Give me another minute or two, and I'll tell you where I put him.
Yeah.
But I'm putting, unless, yeah, I mean, I think I'm putting Diarra in there. When he came on, he was one of the only bright tails really to come out of the West Ham game when he came on as a substitute. He looked progressive, he looked powerful, and he made he made incisive passes, and I think. I want him to start. He's clearly fit, so he's got to start for me. And when he played he kind of played on the right wing against West Ham, and he looked good. But he played on the right wing against Brighton when he was just back, and it looked like an absolute waste of him. For his national team, he plays in the centre of the park, and I think that's where he can have the most influence. That's where I would like to see him this weekend against Burnley. So I want my midfield three of Siddiqui, Getrauda, and Diarra. And I
Yeah.
think that's really solid base. And I think it matters less what happens on the wing if you have that base and that back four. I think you've
Yeah.
got a very solid control of the middle of the park. And then you have less to worry about around that.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think that Diarra with Siddiqui and is a must. I really like the idea of them being back in there, and then I think Hertrauda just knits it together. So that's my midfield three. Now I wonder, right? We talk a lot about Sunderland's wingers, and I'm just going to throw an idea at you to either say that's a good idea or it's a bad idea. But we fixate quite a lot on Sunderland's wingers because I think we line up to play with proper wingers. The idea being that we have wingers who are true wingers who want to be on the byline and stuff. Is there an argument that you could say, well, why don't we move maybe Lefay onto sort of kind of onto left wing, but he's not actually playing left wing, and he's actually playing maybe as a left 10, and then you move maybe a Chris Rigg, maybe, if he's the option, or maybe a Mayenda to be not a right winger, but to be like a right-sided 10. So we compact the middle of the park, kind of tell the fan, whoever it is on the other side, yes, you kind of have to do wingers' jobs, but in reality, we are going to almost abandon the idea that we've got true wingers, and why not try and dominate the area that we're particularly good at? Would that bamboozle teams? Because is that an idea, or do you think is that nonsense?
You want to go all wingless wonders, do you, Alf Ramsey?
No, kind of fluid is what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking like you kind of tell whoever's playing them left and right wing positions that yes, they kind of have to be wingers, but in reality, you can be fluid. You can go central. You can just be a little bit less married to being.
Make Lefay and Rigg an inside left and an inside right instead of a
basically,
touch
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an interesting idea, but against, I mean, I quite like that idea. I don't think you lose very much because our wingers have been poor. Partly that's the way we play, but we haven't had great productivity from our wingers. There's something of a luxury for us, and they don't really help us much. If you put Lefay and Rigg as inside forwards, then that they would be a better connection with Brobby then. And a lot of our, the stuff that we've got from Brobby hasn't really come from crosses from wings. I mean, some have, but it's been a lot of interplay and him muscling his way.
Him holding the ball up, getting it into him, and him holding the ball up.
And it's really hard for him because he doesn't have people on rushing to lay it off. So if you have inside forwards there who are rushing onto that play, I think it's a really interesting idea. However, I wouldn't be doing that against Burnley, who are the most passive team in the division. And I don't think we can play through the middle of that. And that's what you'd be looking to do on the break or through the middle. So I just don't think we can do that. I think it's more likely that they offer up the wing space to us. But they will sit deep rather like we do. And I think the option to play through the middle. I mean, I like the idea. We've got nothing to lose by trying that, but I don't think you'll get any joy out of it against Burnley because they sit so deep.
Well, let's ask the audience. Let me know if you think my tactical plan of playing two sort of 10s or inside forwards is good, or if you agree with Taff and think that against Burnley it's not the right way to go. Although Taff did say it was a brilliant idea. Well, I don't know if he said
I like the idea, just not against that team.
No,
not against that team.
But do you not think though? So they play basically a 3-4-3. Now I think we'll have a lot of the ball. Obviously, in this game, I wouldn't be surprised if we're at 60 to 65%. I think when we were at Burnley earlier this season, we racked up mid 60%. So I wouldn't be shocked if they I think they will sacrifice the ball against us. So to me, that almost means that we're probably going to be on attack a lot more in the game. So having fluidity within this attacking thing, because the other thing you can do with my weird system that I've just came up with as we've been talking, is if you've got Habib Diarra and Noah Siddiqui kind of playing right and left central midfield, they can kind of act when you've got a lot of the ball as de facto winger. So if the ball's on the right side, Diarra can kind of join and become that. I mean, the ball's on the left, you can do that. I think it gives you a lot of fluidity to interchange.
I think the fluidity comes somewhere else. It comes from the fact that Mukiele hugs that right touchline and Reynildo can hug the left touchline. And I think that that they, you look at the heat maps that we show in reviews of games, they are always up and around those places. So you can get the width from that. And if you have to get back into defence, Hertrauda can fall into a back three of central defenders. So I think the fluidity is elsewhere in that system. And it's an interesting idea. But I mean, I don't know when you get to test this out. Against what team would you play that if it wasn't against Burnley? Because that would be quite a departure from Labrie. That would be quite an attacking formation. That is the sort of switch that Farker made at Leeds. It's paid dividends for them. I don't think it holds very long, and their results are kind of stuttering a little. But it's that kind of it's the kind of thing that he did, and I don't think Labrie is going to do that. I think he's so super safety first this season. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe not.
I like the idea.
But
It's exciting.
in terms of Burnley, when you look at their team and look, I don't even think the most ardent of Burnley fan would say that they've really got much chance of staying up this season. I mean, they're on 15 points maybe, something like that this season. They are 10 points away from, they're on 15, so they're 10 points away from safety. They've got 15 games to go. We kind of include this to be a wider conversation about what's happening down at the bottom of the Premier League, because I do think it's quite interesting because of our result against West Ham. But I think it's fair to say Burnley probably aren't staying up. They have to win 6 or probably 7 of the last 15 games. They have to win half their games from now on this season.
They're down. They're down, and Parker has no way of playing differently. The only disappointing thing is I think we'll probably finish. I think we'll probably finish more than 24 points ahead of them. So I'm denied by the poetic victory.
Yeah. So what are we right now? We are 18 points ahead of them currently.
Yeah. So
we have to...
I think you stretch out the difference over the last 15 games. It probably comes to somewhere close to 24, but I think we'll probably be just above it. But I mean, I know. They're down. They're down. Wolves and Burnley are down. I know it's
what do you think it takes to actually stay up this season? Because West Ham, they've got to play the top 10. So their last 15 games, they've got to play all of the top 10 in their last 15 games this season. So that is not good for them in terms of staying up. But obviously they've picked up. They've won 2 in a row. You look at like Forest down there, they've got 25 points. They've got 7 points in the last 3 games. Leeds, we know that they've picked up since sort of before Christmas. Crystal Palace, are we worried about them? Tottenham, are we worried about them?
Oh, God,
what do you think happens?
I would love it if Tottenham went down. Not because I have anything against them, it's because they're charlatans. They're charlatans thinking they're huge, and they've got a massive stadium. They'd have the biggest crowd records in the Championship, wouldn't it? It'd be hilarious.
What do you think though happens down at the bottom? I mean, we've said we think Burnley are gone, but do you think West Ham have got a strong chance? And if it's not West Ham, who is it?
I have to say, I think oh God, it's hard, isn't it? Harder than you think. I think Forest and possibly Leeds are the only people who could challenge West Ham.
You think Palace are fine?
It depends. If they lose Mateta, is he gone?
Well, it looks like. He's not happy, and he's only scored 1 goal in his last 10 games.
And people are bidding for him, aren't they? Did Leeds?
Yeah.
Is that
I saw
fake news?
It's been linked as well.
God.
No, I think Mateta's going to Forest. Was the talk I'd seen.
Is it? Yeah, is that just farcical? I mean, why would they sell him to Forest?
Well, he's only got 18
months left
in his contract.
You sell him to a relegation rival. I mean, it's got to be worth 5 or 10 million to sell him to anybody else, hasn't it?
Probably, yeah. I don't know though. I think that when I look at the bottom end of the Premier League, one, I'm glad that we're nowhere near it.
It's a mess. It's a right mess.
But 2, I just look at it and I think Forest will pick up points. I think West Ham will obviously pick up points. I think Leeds will pick up points, and I think that there are 2 teams in free fall right now, but one more so than the other, and it's Crystal Palace and Tottenham. Now,
what a shame Burnley aren't doing a bit better. What a shame Burnley aren't doing a bit better.
Yeah, it would have been quite interesting.
Anyway, I'm staggered Glasgow is still in the job, but there we are.
Yeah, that's kind of an aside. But in terms of how Burnley play, I mean, you talk about them being the most passive team in the league. They play a 3-4-3. It's very defensive. I actually quite like their midfield too. They've got Ugachukwu, who I think is a good player, and I think if they go down...
Yeah, but that's it, though, isn't it? That's it.
What, in terms of their good players?
in midfield.
Uh, yeah, well, I don't mind that Louise they've got in there. I think he's done okay this season.
Okay.
Esteve, I think, has been a big disappointment for them. I think he was the best player in the championship, and
Yes.
he's not really. But
Yeah.
they did lose his
Thank God
partner.
Josh
He's been
Cullen
better.
is injured. Thank
Yeah,
God Josh Cullen's injured.
he's out for the season. Then, in terms of
Yeah.
their attacking line, though, I mean, Broja has been a real big disappointment for them. They spent like 20 million quid on him, and I think he scored one goal. You know that's
Well,
not
isn't it,
been
it's not really a surprise, though, is it?
well. I know, but I think for them, they probably thought, right, we're spending 20 million quid on this guy. He's been absolutely hopeless so far, and still starting games over the other not Lyle Taylor, yeah, Lyle Taylor. No, Lyle Foster. Lyle
Yeah.
Taylor was the Charlton guy.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I think they've been deeply disappointing, but that part of their problem is the way they got promoted, and they do this all the time. In that when they got promoted under
Go
the
on, you can get it. Go
company,
on.
Vincent
Yeah,
Company,
there you are.
yeah, when they got promoted under company, they were compelled to purchase a load of players who were on loan for exorbitant fees, so they could barely spend anything to improve the championship squad. And then they played absurd football and got battered. And it's a similar kind of story this season in that they came up, they paid money for Edwards, and they paid money for I think Anthony they had to sign, didn't they? Although he's turned out all right.
Yeah,
And they paid money for Zian
Fleming,
Fleming as well, who's just a
Humphreys.
useless buy. So they've done the same thing again, and I mean, they must be a bit irritated being a Burnley fan that you're such an obvious yo-yo club making the same mistakes again. But it's hard to get out of that pit financially because you if you want to get promoted and not go bankrupt and plummet down the leagues like we did, then you've got to keep buying these players on a promise to go up, and you've got to go up, and then you can't do anything to stay there. So I think they've got quite the mediocre squad. And thank God the outstanding Cullen is injured, otherwise we'd be in for a beating.
Oh yeah, especially with Xhaka not playing. I mean, I can't believe the world is being deprived of Xhaka v Cullen.
Well, I mean, even in injuries, Xhaka is beating Cullen, isn't he? In that he's not injured for as long. So,
Yeah, that's true.
look, they have a terrible team, and it's compounded by a terrible manager. And you just listen to this; they are bottom of the division for the expected goals. They're bottom of the division for accurate passes. They're bottom of the division for accurate crosses. They're bottom of the division for touches in the opposition box. I mean, they quite literally carry no threat at all in the division. And
Are we
then for
second
pretty
bottom?
much, no,
No.
no, we're not. But it wouldn't matter if we were. They carry absolutely no threat, and I can't believe I'm making the same mistake I made last week against West Ham.
Yeah.
But here we go. They're second bottom for actually. Let's wonder shots on target. They are second bottom. Who do you think's bottom?
I think it's probably Sunderland or Wolves.
No! How dare you? Propaganda. It's Wolves.
Where are we? Third bottom.
No, that's Everton. Oh my God, you have so little faith in us.
Are we fourth bottom?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
That's out the drop zone though.
Yes, it is.
That's
So
all
I mean,
about it.
this team carries no threat, and they are horrendous at conceding. They've conceded more goals than all except who?
Probably West Ham.
Yes, they have. But that's not going to happen this week. We're at home.
No.
We have the only unbeaten home record in the division. In fact, there's only one other team in the English pyramids whom I think English senior top half of the period. It is you, yeah.
It's Bromley.
It's Bromley Town. The only other people who have the
Are they Bromley Town? I think
record.
they're just Bromley FC.
Are they?
I think so.
Bromley FC.
I've always been tracking them for years because they've got my name.
Please tell me you have a Football Manager save where you are the manager of Bromley FC.
No, I've never actually done that. No.
Okay.
As kids, though, my best friend at school was called Callum King. So he had King's Lynn, which was that part of the world, and I had Bromley. So we had this southern fight between who is superior. And I think clearly Bromley are winning that now. They're top of the League Two. Where are
Yes,
Kings
they
Lynn?
are.
I don't even know what league they're in.
Geographically,
National South.
I failed. I failed on the capitals, so don't ask me.
I think Kings Lynn, is it not like Norfolk?
It is. It's reclaimed
Oh, there we go.
marshland. There you go.
Tap on the back there.
So yeah, they carry no threat. They are horrendous in terms of their concessions. We really, really should be winning. In fact, they haven't won a game since October the 26th or something like that.
They won back-to-back games against Leeds and Wolves.
Against Leeds and Wolves, and prior to that, they've got one other win in the division against us.
They
Now, if you're Burnley at the start of the season, you'd be thinking, well, we only need to beat Sunderland, Wolves, and Leeds.
yeah.
Fat lot of good is doing them. So, I mean, no, we are not going to be sucker punched by a poor performance again. Surely, referee. I will forfeit something. I will forfeit something if we do.
You'll forfeit something. In terms of Burnley at the minute, though, right, I don't, considering they're really struggling. Whenever I watch Burnley, I feel like they generally score whatever chances they get. Like they're quite a clinical team.
I was convinced that sentence would end with poking my eyeballs out.
No, well, so funnily enough, I was actually at a family gathering on Saturday, and we'd watched the Bournemouth game was on in the background, and then after that, they played the full match replay of the Burnley Tottenham game. And because I'm a weirdo, that's what I sat and engaged in conversation. But really, I was watching this Burnley Tottenham game, and I have to look up. It was Tottenham on the attack, Tottenham doing this, that, and the other. But they've picked up 3 draws in a row against Man United, Liverpool, and Tottenham. So, this is a team that, for them, this is probably their best form of the season. I mean, if we look at the stats, 1 shot on target against Liverpool goes in. They get a draw. Against Tottenham, 3 shots on target, 2 go in. They concede 17 shots in that game, 11 on target. And then before that, they played Manchester United. And they have how many shots on target for a 2-2 draw?
Don't tell me. 2?
1. Because it was an own goal. So they have scored, in terms of their shots on target, they have scored every single shot on target. I know they missed one against Tottenham, but they obviously got a free one and an own goal. So they are prolific at the moment with the chances that they are getting.
Well, that is not going to hold this weekend. They're going to get a pasting.
That's bold. I don't know if we want to do that. Maybe we clip that up and put it on.
No. I am happy to do that, and you can be the cautious one here. I have not learnt from last week.
No.
And I require a solid win. Otherwise, I should be miserable.
Sunderland should win the game. I mean, I don't think any Burnley fan watching it that thinks they're going to win the favourites going at this game. Sunderland should be winning this game. They're 11th in the Premier League. You got more than double their points total. Not quite 24, but more than double. We should be winning. We haven't lost a home game this season. We should be winning this game of football.
I agree. I'll be honest with you. I'm doing my best to rile them here. If I don't make it onto a Burnley forum for saying who's this fella, I'm not doing well enough here.
I don't know if Turfcast do propaganda.
Okay.
Sure. I'll have a look. Maybe I'll recommend you to go on and do the opposition preview. You can go on and slander the whole town of Burnley.
So. I'd be politer. But surely no other result is either expected or acceptable. I mean, if we get turned over again by Burnley because we play poorly again, I won't fall apart, but lots of people will and say, people will say bang goes the season. People will say, what the hell's wrong, and there'll be all sorts of chaos. Ready to Go will not be a place for the faint-hearted come Monday night.
No, that is true.
I just can't see it. They are so passive. The only thing that will defeat them is if we're passive. And if they play a long ball behind Trey Hume because he's forced to run around between midfield and right wing, that's the only way I could see us being undone.
Did though. Like with Trey Hume, he did drop him for the Derby game.
Yeah,
He has taken him out of the team when it's made sense. Um,
yeah.
so if we're gonna do a team, I mean, we'll go back to the team that we picked. I don't think Trey Hume starts this game unless there's an injury somewhere that we don't know about.
But Lebris is super caution first. We are still the only team in the division, and we have been for some time now, who have not scored a goal in the first 15 minutes in the league. Still.
What a stat! I think though, if he does go into this game and line up as sort of puts Trey Hume on the right wing and lines up in as negative a way. I mean, he's going to be inviting himself in for pelters. It doesn't even matter that we've had a good start of the season and whatnot. You are going to get pelters if you set up against objectively the worst team in the league. I know Wolves are bottom, but it's fair argument that all the underlying data suggests Burnley are the worst team in the league. You have to, against the worst team in the league at home, be in control and dominating and aggressive and all them things to win, because in theory it's the it's one of your best opportunities to pick up 3 points in a season.
Yeah, I mean, if we get turned over by them and play poorly, and 5 days later, or 6 days later, we're heading to Arsenal away from home, I think we out of nowhere, for no particularly good reason, we put ourselves in a difficult spot, and people are not happy. I mean, that shouldn't still be the case. We still have 33 points, but that's what the feeling will be like, and it will be. There will be a large chunk of supporters who will, and maybe us. I don't know. I hope I don't have to reflect on it. But would it be a case of, if we've lost to West Ham and if we lose to Burnley, would it be a case of, well, what a wonderful opportunity we had to try and go for Europe, and is that it missed now? Would that be the case?
I mean, for someone like me who has to dress as Indiana Jones, yes, absolutely. I think generally though, I think we
None of us
we
really
all
expect that.
yeah, I mean, like Europe is like a cherry on top of a wonderful cake. But I mean, even if we finish 15th from this point on, and we picked up maybe another 12 points from now at the end of the season, we pick up at less than a point per game, but we get 12 more points and finish with 45. I mean, that is still a very good first season in the Premier League.
Do not be disappointed with 15th.
I think I would in the context of the whole season, but I think
where we are now, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that if we finish 15th, I mean, you know how tight the Premier League is as well. We could finish 15th, but only be 4 points away from 9th. I mean, I think you're fair to be disappointed with how good it started, but I don't think I'm, rip it up and start again territory.
No. I'm not either. I do have a lot of money on a top half finish, though, so I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm sure there's plenty of people do. Is there anything else to talk about? Any other?
Who's going to play up front, Brobby, and what kind of, do we get any look in the team selection or substitutes for Wilson or Mayenda?
Probably starts. Yeah, 100%. I think he's probably right now. Is he the third name on the team sheet?
What? Roofs, Xhaka, Brobby. I think they're
Yeah. So
I think Siddiqui is an ever present as well when available.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've probably got 6 or 7 first names on the team sheet, to be fair. But probably starts Isidore Mayenda. I think it's game state. What are we trying to do? If we're drawing the game 0-0 on 60 minutes, probably will be. Yeah, he has generally been pretty aggressive with his substitutions at home and bringing on players.
Yes, but I don't think there's any space for Wilson to get in behind such a passive defensive team, so he probably doesn't come on. For me, it's probably Mayenda.
Yeah, because Mayenda's got that first touch and dribble, which Isidore doesn't have, so I would agree.
Carries but then the other thing is, the ball better.
If I was looking at this from the sense that Brobby, look, I know he's played 90 minutes a few times, but boy oh boy does he start to struggle as the game gets on. He definitely is a 65-minute man who can maybe give you the 90, but I think that you would say that if we were drawing the game 0-0 on 65 minutes, you'd maybe bring Mayenda and Isidore on and take Brobby off.
Maybe. There is one question that we haven't answered, though, apart from your interesting idea of playing inside forwards, Lebris is not going to do that. So who are the wingers you select? If you have your midfield three of Hertrauda, Siddiqui and Diarra, who are you playing on the wings?
I would probably play Lefay on the right wing, and I would,
Because you'll have Taubi on the left.
yeah, Talby or Mundle. I'm not sure. I don't know. Do you continue with the Mundle experiment? Do you put
I
Talby?
don't.
I
I
don't
don't play
like.
Mundle.
I don't see if I was FIFA, they give them ratings out of like 100. I say like Mundle and Talby are just like the same. I don't see necessarily one being particularly better than the other. I think that
I
they're
agree
very
with you.
similar.
I think their output is the same, but I think Talby has better close control. Too often, I think Mundle, the ball gets too far away with him, and it's a bit disappointing. Nothing comes of it. I think Talby has better close control, and
Do you think Mundle though maybe has a bit more of a? If I was to expect a player to score a goal from range, like Mundle, I feel like has maybe got that in his locker more than Talby.
Talby scored two good goals from range, hasn't he? I know one was a deflection off Van Dijk's butt, but
No, one was like a pass from just inside the box, or maybe just outside the
that
box.
is, I think, running onto that at full pelt. That's not an
Yeah,
easy
no,
put away.
I am not saying it was a bad goal. I'm just saying that if you gave me Mundle cutting in and taking a shot, as he did against Preston at home last week, I think it was Preston.
Luton
Luton
away.
away,
That's a
yeah. Like I feel like he's got that more in his locker. Whereas Talby, I
He
don't know
has,
if
but I
he.
don't think you just don't get those opportunities in the Premier League. And you watch him play, everybody knows that's his biggest threat. He can't really cross with his left foot, so it's always going to be cut in and take a shot, and he cannot get them away because they won't let him. I think that's part of the problem.
He
Um,
needs to watch
he
Aston
needs
Villa
to
because they love cutting in
shoot
and getting
from
a shot.
further,
Yeah,
shoot from even further out.
yeah,
But I mean, if you think about it, I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe the sense that he does carry it too far and tries to cut in on the edge of the box or just inside the box, and it's too crowded. Maybe he needs to do that further out.
yeah.
Um, no, but for me, it's Taubi starts. His close control is better than Mundle's, and his goal output. But I don't think it's very. I agree with you. I don't think their output is very different. I think it's touch and go between both of them. And Mundle is more solid defensively than Taubi, although he has improved. So, yeah, I mean, it would be a first to see Lefay on the right. I'm not sure the viewers will agree with you
He
about
has
that.
he's done it before, hasn't he?
Well, if he has, he was unremarkable because you're not sure.
No,
So,
actually, I think he moved him to right centre midfield, didn't he? He moved him
right.
to yeah, because oh, I can't remember now. I feel like he moved over to the right. Anyway, I think Lefay is good enough that he can play on the left or right. I don't think it particularly matters what side he goes on. He's not shooting enough anyway from range. Although he has scored some goals recently, it must be said. I don't know. Anyway, do we have anything else to talk about?
No, just the size. This the margin of victory. That's all.
Well, if I was to do a prediction, I think Sunderland will win 1-0. I think it's going to be a terrible game for the Monday Night Football viewers.
I think you're right. I think that's why they've got it, because they just want to tick us off for the minimum number of games, the pair of us, so they show each other.
Yeah.
I will go 2-0.
There we go. So you're not that high of a score.
All yours.
True. That is true. I don't know. Burnley don't take that many heavy defeats. To be fair, they've never lost by more than 2 goals all season, apart from when they lost at Man City 5-1.
Well, what do you do? What do you do if you're Scott Parker? I mean, you have to try and win this game, don't you? Or do you come and try and play for a draw again? Because Sunderland's home record is great.
No, but they have to win. They have to win games of football, don't they? Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that changes how you play. I don't know if. I mean, Burnley surely have to sit in and have a real threat on the counter. It has to be that. But then, do the change system? But he's been pretty married to the way that he plays. So,
Sunderland have a great home record. I mean, does he really, honestly, in the desperate situation they are, come to Sunderland and play for a draw? Because that's not going to be good enough.
No, it's not. They've got to win the game. But do they look at it as we try and draw the game 0-0, but find margins, whether it be a set piece goal or a break or get an early goal or something? The only thing with playing at Sunderland as well is that if you can get if you can turn the crowd in a game where we haven't played many games this season where we're expected to win, even at home when we've played against like Bournemouth at home, there isn't necessarily an expectancy that we should win the game. Burnley at home is probably even more so than Leeds because of AFCON. It's probably the first home game we've played all season where there is like an expectancy that we are better than these and we should win. So I suppose if you're Burnley,
I think we expected to beat Wolves. That wasn't a great game
maybe
either,
yeah,
despite the scoreline.
yeah, it was an own goal. But you didn't know Wolves were as bad then though. Like they were bad, but you sort of thought maybe they would be not as bad. You know what I mean? You think it'd be historically bad. So
Yeah. I think if you are Scott Parker in your dire situation, their next 3 games are Sunderland, West Ham, and Palace. I think you have to try to win them, all 3 of them.
yeah, I
And
agree.
so, I mean, maybe they are not as defensive because I think they cannot afford to be. If they play for draws in those 3 games, well, then the man deserves to be sacked right now.
But they also played Tottenham at home, and they ended up they were 2-1 up until late on. But I mean, if you watch the game, they were not the better team.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, let us know what you think. I mean, we don't normally do predictions, but there we go. Let us know your predictions for this game. I know we're recording it a few days out. Check out the review. Well, it was kind of a review of the West Ham game, but it was more a transfer. I don't know, what would you call it? Kind of a
Where are we headed? What do we need? How can we
yeah,
improve the team?
yeah.
That
There
sort
we
of
are.
thing.
You've got your title.
And
There.
reflecting on West Ham.
And we've also got the Dan Neil sort of look at his career if you want to check that out as well. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you. I don't know, when will we be? Maybe we'll go live on Monday night. Do we go live on Monday night after the
Yes,
Burnley game?
let's do that. Let's do that
So
right
probably about
afterwards.
11, half 11 maybe. It'll be late.
We don't sleep every
Yeah,
day.
we don't sleep. Every day is podcasting. So yeah, we'll be back for that one. Then we'll have our usual videos next week building up to Arsenal, which will be probably one where we'll be wearing our cricket equipment to see. And then again, Arsenal don't normally. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. Be a difficult game. There we are. Anyway, right. We'll see you anyway in the very near